9:39 is your time. 1929 will forever be remembered as the year the stock market crashed, triggering the Great Depression. But one Georgia business not only survived the crash, it flourished.
A Fresh Air Barbecue in Jackson first opened in 1929 as a roadside barbecue stand serving travel-weary customers. Well, today, not much has changed, least of all the delicious barbecue being cooked up inside. Good day, Atlanta's Paul Milliken is live there this morning. And Paul, this is really a place where time stands still.
Yeah, what are you doing there instead of me?
Yes, and we're doing something creative right now. Okay, so look at this picture. That is Fresh Air Barbecue back in 1956. That's owner Toots Caston in the middle. Now, Blaze, reveal what it looks like in 2016. I'm not as good looking as Toots Caston, not nearly as successful either, but I'm standing right here and I love it. This is Fresh Air Barbecue in Jackson, an institution down here, so much so that last night when I put up a picture on my Facebook page and I said, we're heading to Fresh Air Barbecue, I can't even tell you how many people wrote in to say, I love that place. It's the only barbecue I eat. And then all the memories, too. There are people that remember being here back in the 30s and 40s, running around on the sawdust floor to order their barbecue. So not much has changed here, although they do have Coca-Cola in the fountains back there now, and a few changes. John Morris is here, too. Great to see you, sir.
Hey, it's good to have you guys here this morning.
We are thrilled to be here. So first of all, I got to ask you, you've been around these parts for a while. You said you moved here when you were young. What's your early memory of Fresh Air Barbecue?
I believe it was about 1963, coming in here, sitting, looking out at the road, eating barbecue and stew. They didn't have slaw back then, but that was just prior to us moving here. And my dad and I and some friends would come down and rabbit hunt in the area, and we'd always break for lunch and come to Fresh Air.
Nice, and you'd come to Fresh Air Barbecue. Well, let's talk about the history of this place. So it was first opened back in 1929, right?
That is correct. Opened by a local veterinarian by the name of Dr. Joel Watkins. Dr. Watkins, he was legendary around here. He operated pretty much by himself until I believe 1945. At that point, the current owner's granddad, Mr. Toots Caston, leased part of the property, and he actually opened up on the weekends while Dr. Watkins operated over in the other building over there. Toots, as we all knew him and loved him, was able to purchase the entire piece of property in 1952, and at that time began a day-to-day barbecue operation, and it remains pretty much the same. Good, consistent quality, and you'll get that every time you come here.
Yeah, and the rest is history. Hey, Blaze, I got to show you guys something real quick. Come around the counter, if you will. This is a neat little part of the history here. So once upon a time, you know, you would walk into the barbecue place, and the people back here would be smoking their cigarettes, and they'd rest them right here on the counter. All these black marks right there, that's where all the workers used to rest their cigarettes behind the counter. I don't think you'd find that in most restaurants today, but apparently once upon a time that was the norm. These are the grandsons back here, George and David. So good to see you guys. Real quick, David, if you would. I know a couple of people back at the station want to see those hams. Hey, sir, if you would, George, tell me, how much ham do you go through? How much pork do you guys cook every week?
We cook approximately 2,500, 3,000 pounds a week.
Oh, nice. And you, I know there's some special family recipes in this place too, right? You've been cooking kind of the same way for a long time.
Well, same way since the 40s, with this exact same pit.
Yeah, and the Brunswick Stew here is certainly world famous. Where did that recipe come from?
Well, it came from my grandfather's father. And of course he modified it to his taste too, but that's where the original recipe originated.
Yeah, very nice. So where we're standing right now, again, this is original. This was all here in 1929, including this monster of a double chimney back here. So if we can walk around the corner, tell me how this thing works, because you've kind of modified it over the years, but it's an interesting way of cooking the barbecue.
It's basically an L-shaped or U-shaped pit, and you have your wood on the end down here in your firebox, and you have indirect heat and smoke that smoke and cook your hams.
Okay, so it goes through that tunnel.
Here and takes a left and then takes another left up the chimney.
Up the chimney. Very nice. Well, we cannot wait to do a little taste testing this morning. We thank you guys for letting us be here. We've got more coming up in the next hour. Plus, it's open for breakfast right now. So if you're watching and you're not that far away from Jackson, come say hi and eat as much barbecue as you can, because I don't want to take any back to Buck and Katie. So let's clean this place out this morning so that I have a good excuse. Look, Katie, you're lumped in with Buck now. Sorry. I mean, you're part of that team, and now
it's place to be, Katie.
It's me against them.
Toots Milliken, thanks a lot.
All right, asphalts in Bucks County, where to get the best barbecue, and chances are you're going to hear the words fresh air. For nearly 90 years, Fresh Air Barbecue has been a fixture in Jackson, surviving the ups and downs of the economy by focusing on what it does best. Good Day Atlanta's Paul Milliken is live there this morning. This is a place where time stands still, Paul.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And Karen, I have been given a request for you, okay? The brothers that own this place now, and it was their grandfather who took over it in the 1940s. They want Karen Graham to come down to Jackson, Georgia and try some Fresh Air Barbecue. So you and me,
Done.
a day trip date. Are we on or what?
We're on. Done.
Done?
Done.
All right. All right. You and me here. And I got to tell you, Karen, you walk into this place and it's pretty amazing to see pictures of what it looked like back in the 1950s and look at it today, because almost nothing in here has changed. A few structural changes. They got Coke now. They didn't have that back then. But otherwise, it really looks the same, including this counter right here, which is original. And I showed in the first hour, there are still some marks in the back here where employees used to rest their cigarettes when they smoked behind the counter. There really is a rich history to this place, and we decided to step back in time to find out what it is. A lot happened in the year 1929. Herbert Hoover became president, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born, and the stock market crash of October led to the Great Depression. Meanwhile, down in Jackson, Georgia, the air got a little fresher thanks to a new roadside barbecue stand.
Dr. Watkins, which was a local veterinarian, owned it at that time. My grandfather purchased it from him in the early 40s.
George Barber's grandfather was Butts County native Toots Caston, who bought Fresh Air Barbecue, added his family's famous Brunswick Stew to the menu, and perfected the process of cooking pork.
You build your fire in here. This is the firebox, and indirectly the heat and smoke travel up the runway here and turn and go through the meat.
How long does the meat cook for before we eat it?
Approximately 18 hours.
That kind of slow cooking makes sense for a place where time stands still. That's Toots Caston back in 1956. Here's his grandson David today. That's the same double chimney back there, same bread warmer, same counter, which by the way is still covered with marks where employees used to rest their cigarettes. This was here.
This was all here. It's just as it was then, with the exception there were no windows that you see over on our side over here. It was all just open. At night you folded up the bench here to cover the shutter, to cover up the hole in where it was open.
In fact, the biggest changes at Fresh Air Barbecue are out here, like the modern cars in the parking lot. See, the world may change around it, but at Fresh Air Barbecue, perhaps the most important seasoning of all is tradition. You guys have watched customers grow up here, right?
We have, and you know, they've watched us grow up too.
And you just don't know the pain and the hunger of standing here as the scent wafts off the barbecue sauce and the Brunswick stew as it cooks. It is so, oh man, it's making me hungry. And if that's not bad enough, I'm gonna make all of you hungry. David, if you would, sir, let's open this up now. We're gonna, oh yeah, look at that, Karen. We got the ham slow cooking right now. That's what they're serving up here at Fresh Air Barbecue. And I have to say real quick, a big thanks to Butts County for giving us a very warm welcome this morning. It's great to be down here. And Karen, mark it on your calendar, whatever day you want to come have your date at the historic Fresh Air Barbecue. You got it.
We're going to make it happen. All right, Paul. Thank you for that. Special invite. Yep. I love that. Well, tomorrow morning it's a truly wild summer camp where local youth get to go on safari without ever leaving Metro Atlanta. Paul heads to Zoo Atlanta for a look at how the safari day camp keeps kids active this summer. And you can stay connected with us throughout the day on Twitter. You can follow me at Karen G Fox 5, and our newscast is on Twitter at Good Day Atlanta. 9:26 is your time. Coming up on